A missing tooth can affect your bite, it can affect your speech, your eating choices. Dr. Ed Wong from Apple Dental Implant Centres is here with some tips on how to restore your smile if you've lost one of your pearly whites. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me here, Kay.
Okay, so, I mean, maybe you've had a sports injury and we always, I don't know about you, but you bite into something that's hard and you can damage your tooth, maybe chip it or maybe lose the tooth altogether.
Right.
So if someone loses a tooth for any reason, what's the first thing that they should be doing?
Oh, well, the first thing you should think about is getting to a dentist right away, right? But there's important things to consider. If you can find your tooth, pick it up, hold it by the crown. Try not to touch the root because there's important tissues and cells on there that are important for healing again.
Oh, okay.
And if you can get it and find it and it's clean, put it back in your mouth. Right?
Really?
Yeah, and get to the dentist right away. If you can't, maybe put it in the side of your cheek and hold it between your cheek and your teeth, and just get to the dentist right away and see if they can put it back in. Sometimes you can't do that, and then that's when we have to consider replacing it somehow.
So, I mean, you could actually salvage the tooth if it's found in time.
It's certainly possible to do that, but that's why you get there as quick as you can, and don't scrape off the tissues off the root. Put it in your mouth or in a glass of milk and get to the dentist right away.
Okay, good tip there. So there are two different options for replacing a missing tooth if you can't save the tooth. We have implants or bridges. So tell us about implants, first of all.
Implants is a screw. It's essentially a medical grade of titanium that's through a minor surgical procedure. It's just placed right up into the jawbone. And once it's placed into the jawbone and allowed time to heal, you can place a crown right back onto it.
Okay, so it's kind of like, we have a photo here that illustrates that. So
exactly.
Basically you attach your tooth onto the screw, and the screw sort of becomes the root, if you will, of the tooth.
You do, yeah. And I always tell people it's almost kind of like woodworking, If you've got a good, solid, strong piece of oak wood, you can bury a nice, large screw into it, and it can hold really solid. But if your jawbone is too narrow or too thin, then it's difficult to place a screw in there. So and it can't support the weight. So it's important to get a good assessment and determine the quality and thickness of your bone and figure out what's best for you.
Okay, and then the other option is bridges. Tell us what that entails.
Yeah, bridges essentially is you will take a tooth in front of the missing space and the tooth behind the missing space. And then you've got to drill it to make a crown essentially on the tooth. And you see here, And then once there's a crown on the tooth in the front and tooth in the back, there's a false tooth that's soldered in the middle, and it's glued in permanently in that cement, and that restores a missing tooth too as well.
What's the most popular one that you see? I mean, bridges or implants?
Well,
what do people go with?
Bridges have been kind of the go-to for many years, right? But implants are becoming more successful. They're becoming more affordable too as well. And so I don't know if there's really a right or wrong answer. It's just not wrong, it's just different, which is
whatever's best for that individual, whatever they prefer.
Yeah,
okay. Why should someone replace a tooth?
Well, the most obvious thing is cosmetics, right? You don't want to walk around looking like you've been a former NHL player or anything like that, right? So aesthetics is one, but function is also another, right? If you're going to be chewing too heavily on some other teeth, it's nice to make sure you can balance your bite and get good function. And with missing teeth, the teeth behind it can kind of shift and drift, and then your bite becomes unbalanced, and it can cause more problems with joint problems and muscle problems too as well. So it's important to consider trying to replace a tooth.
And I imagine it takes a while for some people to make that decision to know what option is best for them.
Yeah, it is, and that's why it's so important just to see your dentist, right? Because they can do a full evaluation and then determine what's best in your situation to meet your needs, your aesthetic needs, your functional needs, and your financial needs too.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good information this morning.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
if you want to watch this segment again, it'll be on our website, ctvmorninglive.ca.